Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with help with homelessness. In this video, we'll be talking about how to get a council house. This advice applies to England, so see advice for Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. You can apply for a home through your local council. They might call it social housing. If your application is accepted, you'll go onto a waiting list of people who need a council home. Your council will then prioritise applications based on who needs a home the most urgently. The council's allocation scheme will give details of who gets priority for homes in the area. Even if you get on the waiting list, there's no guarantee you'll get a home. You could be offered a home owned by your local council or housing association. You might have to apply to some housing associations directly instead of through the council. Ask your council if there are any in your area. If your council has a long waiting list, they might ask if you want to apply for homes in other areas as well. You can be on several waiting lists at the same time, and this might increase your chances of getting a home. So check if you can apply for a council home. Your local council has its own rules on who can apply and who has priority for homes. This is called an allocation scheme. Check the council's website on gov.uk to find out how it works in your area. The link will be in the description. You'll probably need to be on a low income or not have a large amount of savings, have lived in the area for a number of years, or have a job there. This is called a local connection. Filling in the application. Give as much detail as you can in your application. You might be asked to give extra evidence to support your application, like medical notes if you have a health condition. Your council will use the information you give them to decide if you're eligible to join the waiting list. If your application's accepted, they'll then use it to decide if you get priority and what size of home you should get. You might need to give details of your income, including your job or benefits, any long-term health conditions or disabilities you have, your job history, your savings and any assets you have. This is as an item that's worth a lot of money, for example, a car, where you've lived for the last few years and why you left, any visas or immigration documents, like a passport, if you're not from the UK. If you've applied to the EU settlement scheme and you're waiting for a decision, you can only apply for council housing if you have a right to reside. Check if you have a right to reside. You can't apply for council housing if you don't have a right to be in the UK. You're in the UK as a visitor, you're seeking asylum, or it says no public funds or no recourse to public funds on your immigration documents. Check you have habitual residency. You have habitual residency if you can show that the UK, Ireland, Channel Island or Isle of Man is your main home. You only have to show you're a habitual resident if you've moved or returned to the UK in the last 2 years. If you have pre-settled status or you're waiting for a decision from the EU settlement scheme, you don't need to show you're a habitual resident if you have a right to reside, because you're either a worker. This includes if you've retained worker status, you're self-employed. This includes if you've retained self-employed status. You are the family member of a worker or self-employed person. You've retired, or you're the family member of someone who's retired. Lastly, you can't work anymore because of illness or an accident or you're the family member of someone in that position. You still have to show your habitual residency if you have another type of right to reside. For example, a permanent right to reside based on 5 years in the UK. You'll probably need to apply online. Check which council you need to apply to on gov.uk. Again, the links will be in the description. If the council accepts your application, it doesn't mean you'll get a home straight away. You'll go onto a waiting list and it could take some time. If you're applying directly to a housing association, the rules might be different. Check their process on their website. Filling in the application. Give as much detail as you can in your application. You might be asked to give extra evidence to support your application, like medical notes if you have a health condition. Your council will use the information you give them to decide if you're eligible to join the waiting list. If your application's accepted, they'll then use it to decide if you get priority and what size of home you should get. You might need to give details of your income, including your job or benefits, any long-term health conditions or disabilities you have, your job history, your savings and any assets you have. This is as an item that's worth a lot of money, for example, a car, where you've lived for the last few years and why you left, any visas or immigration documents, like a passport, if you're not from the UK. Do you need help with your application? You'll need to answer a lot of questions in the application form, and it could take more than an hour to complete. Talk to your local council if you need help. You might be able to get a family member or carer to help with your application too. Get in your decision. If your application is accepted, your council will put you into a group or band that reflects your level of priority. If they think you need a home urgently, you'll usually be given a high priority. You can still have a long wait for a home, even if you have a high priority. Ask your local council to find out how long the wait is in your area. Your council decides your level of priority using the criteria in their allocation scheme. If you don't think they've given you the right level of priority under their scheme, you can ask them to review it. Check your council's allocation scheme before you ask for a review. If your application is refused, you can always ask the council to review their decision. You can also look at renting from a private landlord or getting help with your rent. If your situation changes. If your situation changes, tell your council as soon as possible. It might change your position on the waiting list. This could mean you'll get a home more quickly, but it also could move you down the list. If you don't tell the council about changes that affect your level of priority, you could be accused of lying on your application. This could mean you'd be evicted from any home you get. You should let your council know if you become pregnant or have another child, develop a medical condition or your medical needs change, have a change in income. This could be if your benefits stop or your salary changes, are being harassed where you live, or move house, or have other new contact details. Check if you can bid for a home. Ask your council if you have to bid for homes or if they pick you out for one. If they choose one for you, they could offer it by phone. They'll usually follow it up with with a letter. Bidding for a home. Your local council might have an online system where you can look for a home. If you like a home and it's suitable for you, you can let the council know you're interested by applying for it online. This is called bidding. Your council will tell you how their bidding system works. The homes will have all a closing date, so make sure you bid before then. If you've bid for a home, it doesn't mean you'll get it. Your council will tell you how often you can bid for homes. They might also set a limit on how many homes you can bid for. Once the bidding period has closed, your council will look at your level of priority, usually how long you've been waiting. The council will usually offer the home to the person with the highest level of priority in their scheme. You might be able to refuse a council home if you don't think it's suitable for your needs, but it's important to check. Some councils might remove you from their waiting list, so please find out more about refusing an unsuitable home. If you're offered a council home, your council will tell you how long you have to accept or reject an offer. You'll usually only have a short time before your council offers it to someone else. If you decide to accept a home, your council will arrange a time for you to sign the contract. You could be offered long-term tenancy or a fixed-term contract for a year or more. Your council will tell you when you can move in and when you have to pay the rent. And there you have it. That is how to get a council house. I'll have some more tips and tricks and secrets coming in later videos, so please make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you stay up to date with any new released videos. Make sure you hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video, and also share the video with anybody that you think it might be of use to. Use the comment section down below to ask any questions, and we'll be sure to reply to your questions as soon as we can. So please take care, look after each other, and we'll see you in the next video.